Good morning, everybody. Okay, today's maths lesson is focusing on long multiplication. To start the lesson, look at the 7 do now questions, and I want you to particularly focus on number 4 and number 6. Number 4 has got two fractions that have got different denominators, which makes it harder to be able to add. Now think that we know that a quarter is double the size of an eighth. Although the 4 is smaller, a quarter is double the size of an eighth. So think about how many eighths are going to be needed to be able to get the right amount of quarters, or how many quarters will be needed to get the equal amount of eighths. So what we can do is look at these 3 quarters and think, well, how do I get them into eighths? So if I was working with eighths, if I know that I need 3 quarters, how many eighths make up 3 quarters? 2 eighths make up 1 quarter. So 2, 4, 6. I would need 6 eighths, which is the same as 3 quarters. There's my quarters. If I split each of my quarter, I'm going to get 2 eighths. 1, 2, 3 quarters is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighths. I've now got 7 eighths at 6 eighths, which should be much easier to be able to add. Number 6 is more difficult because you would need to use long multiplication for this method unless you can partition. So think about what this 15 is made up of. It's made up of a 10 and a 5. Can we multiply 782 by 10, 782 by 5? Okay, good luck. Okay, so today's lesson is moving on to long multiplication. So we have used short multiplication and we've learned how to use known facts leading all the way up to this, but we're now going to learn how to use long multiplication. So we know that we're using long multiplication when the question has a multiplier that is a 2-digit number. Now sometimes we can do that multiplication mentally, but most of the time if we've got a 2-digit number and we're representing it something like this, we're going to use long multiplication. So to begin with, to make sense of our equation, we should get into the habit of being able to write it like this. So we've got 35 multiplied by 32. 35 is my multiplicand, it's the number I'm multiplying. 32 is my multiplier. I'm multiplying everything by 32. So when I look at it here, my multiplicand is the first number, my multiplier is the second number. I can also break that down even further and say that I am multiplying 35 by 2 and I'm multiplying 35 by 30. So that's my partitioning what my multiplier is. I'm going to multiply everything by 2 first and everything by 30. And then I can also represent it like this. And this helps me understanding a little bit where each part of my product comes from. So I've got 35 here, my multiplicand, multiplied by 32. And I'm going to work out my answers in each of these boxes alongside using the long multiplication method. So here's where we start. So we'll go back and remind ourselves we're doing 35 multiplied by 2 first. So let's find that on here. So 35 multiplied by 2. We always start in the ones column. So I'm going to do 5 multiplied by 2, which gets me to 10. Let's see where we're going to record that on here. 5 multiplied by 2, I know, is 10. So to be able to represent 10, I need to have 1 in my tens column, 0 in my ones column. So I think we're okay so far. Then I'm going to do 30 multiplied by 2 because that's the next part of my multiplication here. So I'll find that on the grid. I've done 5 multiplied by 2. I've now got 30 multiplied by 2. So I'm going to use known facts to work that out. I'm going to say that 3 times by 2 is equal to 6. So 30 made so 3 has been made 10 times bigger, multiplied by 2 is equal to 60. So going back to my equation, it's now thinking, where do I record that 60? I can't put my 6 in the hundreds column because that would be equal to 600. I know I need to put my 6 in this column. If I was to put a 6 here, hopefully you can spot that mistake straight away. I've already got an extra 10 here. I've already had to regroup in that column. So instead of that being a 6, representing 6 tens, I'm going to add this 10 on that I've already got, and it becomes 70. I've got 7 tens. Okay, then move on to the next bit, which we know here is 35 multiplied by 30. So 35, we've multiplied it by the 2, we can always give that a bit of a tick, but now we need to multiply it by the 30. So let's look at what that looks like here. So we always start in the ones column again, so this time I've got 5 multiplied by 30. So I'm going to use known facts again. 5 multiplied by 3 is equal to 15. So 5 multiplied by 30, which has been made 10 times bigger, must be 150. I've made it 10 times bigger again. So let's look at where we're going to record that 150. So I know that my 0 in the number 150 is in the ones column. I know that if I put my number here, I know that the 5 is in the tens column. And I know that the 1 is in the hundreds column. Now I know I've got another column to multiply by. So my 1 is going to go here. 150 is the product of 5 multiplied by 30. And then the last step here shows 3 times by 3, which we know is 30 multiplied by 30. So if I go back to my multiplication grid, I'm going to do that here. So I'm going to use known facts again. 3 times by 3 is equal to 9. And then I'm going to make this number, the multiplicand, 10 times larger. 30 times by 3 is 90. And I'm going to continue and make my second 3, my multiplier, also 10 times larger, making my product 900. So if I go back to my multiplication, I've got my 900 here. Where am I going to record that 900? I know it's got to be in the hundreds column, you're right. If I put a 9 there, hopefully we've all spotted the mistake instantly. I've already got 100 here. So 900 add 100 is 1000. I need to find my thousands column. and then I put a 0 in the place as a placeholder there. Then all I'm left to do is to add the columns up. 0 add 0 is 0. 7 tens add 5 tens. I might double 5 is 10 and add 2 more tens on, which is 12. 0 hundreds add 100 is 1. And 1,000 add nothing is 1,000. So your final product should be 1,120. So when you go through your long multiplication today, I want to see you writing it out as an equation first, representing it as long multiplication, and then if you feel like you need to, putting the grid alongside. So this is grid multiplication, but I'm not asking you to use that method if you feel confident with long multiplication, but if you're unsure where your products come or how to record them, do it in the grid method alongside this method. If you feel really confident using the grid, but when you get to here everything goes wrong, at least you'll know, actually I know how to multiply, it's just the method that I'm unsure on how to use. And you can add up each of these totals, so you would add the 900, the 60, the 150 and the 10 to be able to get your product, and you can almost use this as a checking tool. Okay, good luck everybody.